Goedemorgen, goedemorgen. Ik hoop dat iedereen wakker is vandaag. Even een andere camera-angle geprobeerd. Of toch een beetje meer ingezoomd. Santé. Hoe is het mee met iedereen? Is iedereen nog... iedereen blij dat het einde een beetje in zicht is van het eerste semester? Vergeef de casual t-shirt, etc. Als je zo lang thuis werkt, heb je gewoon geen zin meer om een hemd aan te doen. Ik ga mijn slides opzetten, hè. Goed, vandaag gaan we iets leuk doen. Dat is misschien raar om te zeggen, maar ik vind JavaScript ook leuk, maar vandaag gaan we iets leuk doen. Vandaag gaan we effectief werken met rond creativiteit en gaat dat eens een andere les zijn. Dus ik had mij blijkbaar vergist in het sessienummer vorige keer. Dus vorige sessie was sessie 6, niet 7. Dit is 7, wat wil zeggen dat we nog 2 lessen hebben. Dus de 25e, volgende week en de week daarna, dus begin december, zet je van mij vanaf. De laatste les gaat sowieso nog werkstuk werken zijn en ik ga dan helpen en binnenspringen en meehelpen. Dan krijg je nog eens effectief 4 uur voor te werken met mijn begeleiding en in groepjes. Ik denk dat ik misschien ga werken met, om jullie in groepjes in te delen van 3 of 4, dat jullie in teamsvergaderingen kunnen gaan en dat je dan effectief elkaar kunt helpen als er dan effectief problemen zijn. Ik ga het random doen, want anders gaat iedereen weer naar diezelfde groepjes gaan neigen. Dus binnen 2 weken gaan we groepswerk voor het werkstuk doen. En dat iedereen eens een beetje kan elkaar helpen, eventueel. De meesten hebben gelijkaardige technologieën. Hè? Dus het is niet omdat je met een andere API werkt. Je gaat moeten data gaan saven naar een bepaalde database, gaan getten, gaan deleten. Iemand van die 4 zal dat waarschijnlijk hebben. Zo niet, dan kunnen jullie het samen uitwerken en kunt je eventueel verdelen dat 1 iemand 1 functionaliteit werkt en zo verder werkt. Dus om een beetje die schrik weg te krijgen van aan zoiets groot te beginnen. Hè. Dus dat alleen al. Dat is voor volgende week. Ik weet nog niet wat ik ga geven. Ik ben eigenlijk een beetje sneller door mijn leerstof gegaan als normaal. Normaal gezien zijn Express en MySQL. Nee, Mike. Ik ben nog niet wakker. Ik ga nou even koffie drinken. Secondje. Oké. Express en Mongo. Die 2. Die splits ik meestal op. Dit jaar heb ik het in 1 keer gedaan, omdat ik alles voor de herfstvakantie wou geven. Zodat je aan die milestone kon werken. Dus wat ik voorstel is dat volgende week ga ik je een aantal technieken leren voor productieve technieken. Maar weinig extra JavaScript kennis. Ik denk dat we door de core van JavaScript zijn en dat de meeste zaken nu zelf uit te zoeken zijn. Oké? Dat is voor de volgende zaken. De les van vandaag. Die wordt... Hoe moet ik het zeggen? De theorie wordt opgenomen. Maar de oefeningen, coding along, hoe ik het maak, wat ik straks nog eens live ga doen, meer over later, die worden niet opgenomen. Voor een reden. Ik maak dit keer gebruik van een Udemy-cursus. Ik ga niet die cursus geven natuurlijk, maar een aantal voorbeelden komen daaruit. En ik wil niet dat die voorbeelden effectief ook online staan, want dat is effectief van die eigenaar. Ik raad het nog altijd heel hard aan. Straks bij het overlopen van de oefeningen ga ik tonen welke cursus dat is. Ik denk dat wij een stuk of 5 van die oefeningen gaan maken en hij heeft er 90. Super interessante cursus. Als je nog niets op Udemy gekocht hebt en je zet into animation en je wilt meer levendige sites maken, dat gaat de beste €12 zijn dat je gespendeerd hebt. Die geeft u inzichten in andere technieken, in manieren van werken, etc. Goed. Maar in tegenstelling tot de andere oefeningen, in plaats van een coding along, krijg je nu effectief wel alle source code. Dus ik heb een folderke exercises en ik heb een folderke solutions. Dus die solutions die komen volgende week online. De zip is al gemaakt, ik moet ze gewoon linken in Canvas. Maar weer al, dit is een ander type les. Een ander type les in de zin van... Dit is eigenlijk een les dat meer gelijkt op een tweede semester keuzemoduleles. Of een derdejaars specialisatieclusterles. Wat bedoel ik daarmee? Is namelijk dat ik jullie nu echt tools ga geven gewoon. En ja, het is eigenlijk dat ik jullie uitleg hoe kleuren werken en hoe je kleuren gaat mengen, maar jij moet zelf het schilderij maken. Ik kan je niet leren hoe dat je moet schilderen. Snap je? Terwijl de fullstack demo van vorige week heeft duidelijke afspraken. Het gaat niet werken als je dit niet doet en dat niet doet. Dit is heel anders. Dit is heel vrij, heel creatief en je kunt u eens laten gaan. Dit is ook hetgeen wat ik ga verder opbouwen in frontend. Of toch meer, zal ik zeggen. Dus het gaat niet enkel bij JavaScript blijven in frontend. Ik ga meer design- en animatie-libraries daar gaan gebruiken. Maar we gaan bij de basis beginnen vandaag. En dat is effectief... Oh, dat is de verkeerde monitor. Hop. Voilà. We gaan effectief beginnen bij CSS-animaties. Oké. Dus CSS-animaties is de basis. Ik ga direct overswitchen naar het Engels, geen zorgen. En dan daarop eigenlijk... Je kunt al heel veel doen met basis CSS zonder dat je een of andere npm-package moet installeren. Goed. Even... Oké. Dus dit gedeelte wordt wel opgenomen. Ik ga het weer knippen en plakken achteraf. Puur de theorie. Alright, welcome to the actual session 7 of Web 2. We're going to take a look at CSS animations, which is baked into your browser by default. So there are a couple of subjects that we are going to look at in this lesson. We're going to start with two of those, and then we're going to take a break, and you can get your hands dirty on those things as well, which is transition and transforms. And then afterwards, we're going to take a look at keyframes. So, CSS animations, of course, it is built-in functionality. It's you don't need anything extra or any external library. From the moment you are going to actually work with external libraries, you will see that they use different techniques. So they use mostly Canvas. Canvas is an element on the HTML page that allows for drawing on it, and the most libraries are going to be using that. But with basic CSS animations, like for example more fancy hover functions of a nice and animated menu, you should not need external libraries for that. So it's easy to write, like it's the same as CSS. And of course, everybody will be happy today because there is no JavaScript involved. You can use JavaScript, but to change things up a bit, we're going to stay mostly in CSS. I'm not even going to create a script.js file today. So neither should you. It's also not, how should I say? It's also not focused on HTML. So mostly we will just have one button, one link that we will be expanding on and going over that. And then all the rest mostly is CSS. So again, for those where the CSS is a bit lacking or from way back, has been a while since you've used it, well, this is time to freshen it up. Now, a basic hover. You know this, of course. You should know this. So we start from a basic hover. Just you have your selector, which is in this case is a button, as in the element button. And we can make the animation smooth by using transitions. What do I mean by that? As you can see in my example GIF, it's black and white immediately, or blue and red in this case. It's just on, off, on, off. There is no transition to it. There is no smoothness, changing of color. It doesn't ooze any modern feel. This is just when you start learning Java, when you start learning creating websites, you start with this. Now, we can change that a bit. Of course, there are some properties that are going to be helpful to make that possible. So, transitions. A transition is going from one place to another place, from one state to another state. That is a transition. So you can create an effect. So as you can see from top to bottom, here we have the button. I don't have any hover. This is just the button itself. So the button styling has some general CSS, just like before. I'm just going to go back. It has white text and a background color of red. Very simple, very easy. Then we have 4 types of transition properties. Now, you can also, so think about margin or padding. You have margin left, margin right, margin center, I assume. I am no CSS expert, believe me. But you can also write this as transition and then everything in shorthand. You can use the documentation for that. I will explain it piece by piece so you have an idea on what is available. So transition property is the first one. This means that your transition and the settings for your transition, which we will speak in the next 3 properties, will only trigger when certain specific properties are changed. So in this case, the transition is only going to take effect when background colors change. Now you might say, well, there's no background color here except the setting of red, there's nothing changing. Yes, but like if you add another CSS selector in the file, as in button, hover, and you change the background color to blue, then this will trigger and it will say, background color is changing, so we will apply the transition. And what is a transition in this case? As you might see, transition duration. So the duration here is 3000 milliseconds, is of course 3 seconds until it's done. That's one. So then you will create that gradual fade, basically. So over the course of 3 seconds, it will change from red to blue. So it will automatically calculate every color in between when going to blue. So that's important to know. If you want to wait until it turns blue, then you use the delay, which is the last one. So delay is that after 2 seconds, this starts working. So you hover over it. After 2 seconds, you start with a transition that lasts for 5 seconds and changes from red to blue. That's it. And then we have the transition timing function. These are animation properties that I will show you in a second in the demo. So ease, linear, ease in, ease out, ease in, out. That's the speed to which basically you are changing from one place to another. So ease makes it go fast, slow, fast, if I'm not mistaken. And linear, it would be the speed to which it changes is constant. So if it's 3 seconds, after 1 second, it will have changed 33%. While with ease in, ease out, it will go fast or slow. I will show you that in an example that, like play with this. Yeah, you will have much better understanding by just changing this value yourself and checking the results. Of course, like I said, if the property is changing, imagine we still have this one. We have the button hover, background going to blue. That's the only thing we have for our pseudo element, okay? Or pseudo class, sorry. And then in our transition, in this case, we have the background color that is changing over 2 seconds. Now, this might not be the best time to teach colors to you, but because I am literally colorblind, daltonism for those who are asking, and there are some shades of different colors going from blue to red and vice versa. So I think I see a hint of pink there. So it goes from, or magenta, whatever the color is, or purple. Now it goes through that spectrum, because to going from red to blue, you need to go through a couple of different colors to get to your end result. So that's the basic function of transitions. Now, transitions are all cool. This is all you need. Like I said, these 4 properties. You can do everything with this. Okay. Again, you can also do property all. So that just means that if something changes, then this transition kicks in. If I change the text color, if I change the background color, if I change the size, if I change What else? Padding, margin, all those things. If those change, then my transition of 3 seconds will kick in this case. So again, transitions. Now, transforms make things a bit more fun in the sense that you will be, you can let specific things on the web wiggle, which is always fun. So if you hover over a button, then the button like shakes, for example, that's a transform. That's one of those things. Now, basic transformations, you have multiple ways to animate an element. Again, the element does not matter. You can have a div, you can have well, maybe a form, yeah. Why not a form? An input field, a button, like choose whatever you like. You use functions to achieve that animation. Yes, functions in CSS, but you should be familiar with that, like the URL function you probably used by now. And there are 4 main ones. You need to know what these functions do at the theoretic exam. I can tell you that by now. So 4 main functions: scale, translate, rotate, skew. So some of them might sound familiar. One of the, so again, transformations, we combine them with transitions. Why? Because then at the when you hover over a button, you want to rotate it 90 degrees. How long does it take for it to rotate? In this case, as you can see at the bottom, it will use a transition of 1 second. Now, these are the examples: scaling, translating, it's changing place, rotating, of course, and skewing. I don't have an explanation in English for that. It's just getting weird. So those are the 4 examples, of course. Skewing is mostly just like if you pull at 2 ends and like stretch it a bit, that's skewing. So how can I scale? Like, what is the thing I have to do to scale my element? So as you can see, I just have like a class, an ID here. So hashtag scale :hover, which means that the element with the ID scale, if I hover over that, then you will trigger this one. So the property just is transform, but transform, you need to have a function added to it. So you can have multiple things, either scale X, scale Y, or scale. Now scale X would be, in this case, in the top example, as you saw, it got larger on all fronts. So the horizontal and as you can see, every side got larger. That means that it's probably using the scale 1.5, 1.5. So both axes at once will be enlarged. You can also go 0.5. So as you can see, 0.5 in the Y scale, which means you're shrinking something. So scaling, of course, can go up or go down. Translate. So translate, it moves an elements to a specific place on the web page. As you might have seen, yeah, it just got back. So the second example, you see the div moving to the side and then coming back. As you might see here, scale. I hover over this, it moves to the side and it moves back. So with translate, you decide what kind of pixels or distance you are changing it to. So in this case, transform translate 200 pixels 0 means you are shoving it to the right on the x-axis. So the first value is the x-axis, the second value is the y-axis. 0 means I'm not doing anything. Of course, minus 200, also possible. Of course, then you're going to the left from your origin point. Origin point we'll come to in a second. That's for translates. Of course, you can just do translate X or just translate Y as well. Same thing with scale. Rotate. Of course, the rotation is explained in degrees. So of course, if you turn something on its head, it's 180 degrees. If you want to do a full turn, you can do 360 degrees, or you can just write 1 turn. You can also do rotation on the z-axis, which creates 3D effects. That will be later and will be for experimentation. We'll mostly stick to 2D effects for now. Once you have the basics done, of course, there is an exercise that you can try with 3D effects. Again, rotate minus 90 degrees. Of course, it will turn counterclockwise. Rotate will be clockwise. Skews an element by display each point of an element by a given angle in each direction. That's a very fancy way of saying stretching. That is mostly experimentation. Like, there is some math involved. I have learned the math. I understood the math, but I don't think I am capable of explaining it to you in a proper fashion. As in, I don't have the math skills or the background to work with those degrees. So again, look on how it works. Just experiment with it. You can do some funny effects with it. No problem. Now, all those things have something called an origin point. Now, an origin point is the point to where our transformation takes a reference to a start. The most easy example is, for example, what should we call it? The center of an element. I'm going to give a physical example. Give me a second. So default is placed in the center. As you might have saw in here, yeah, the rotate is just being done. As you can see, the example itself as well. Scale, I am scaling from there, from the center. Yeah, that doesn't matter. But here, the rotation is just around its axis. And I will give you, I did this example in the live lesson last year. So I'm going to try and do it as well. So you have a couple of values. As you can see, transform origin point, it has top. Now, place near the transition as a new property, transform origin. This has to be on the element itself, not the transformation. So not on the hover, but on the, for example, on the button properties. I'm just gonna try something here. Let's see if I can do a demo. So in the lesson last year, I had a board that actually, let's see. Yep. That basically said like, okay, if this is going to rotate, I'm going to have my point, of course, here. So this is my rotation point. If it's center, of course, it's going to stake here. Now we have multiples. We have, I'm going to move this a bit. For example, top is this point. We have top left for you guys. It's this point, top right. And we have bottom left and bottom right, okay, or bottom. Those are the points you are allowed to take. Of course, you also see, or you saw in the slides, that you can also say X and Y percentages. So for example, if I said 50%, then I would come to the middle, because 50% of my x-axis 50% of my x-axis brings us here, and the other 50% of the y-axis brings us here. So that means I'm straight in the middle. Now this is out of context. It's very weird to look at, but still, you will remember this. And of course, the other one, just going back for a second, we have, again, top, bottom, left, right. We have x and y percentages, or we have x and y pixels. So if this is an, let's say 100 by 100, I can do 70-30. So 70-30 would start here. It always starts in the top left. It goes 70%, let's say somewhere around here, and 30 over. Yeah, then I will come about here. So this will be, which means that I'm rotating around that point. So you would say, why would that matter? Well, of course, rotation is a bit different if your center is different. Of course, this is going to rotate like this. Now you see, I will have way more room that I need to rotate. If you want to do like a windmill, you will have the center. But if you will have like a slingshot, for example, a medieval slingshot, then your point will be here, because you have the end of the element. Is that clear in my creative solving of the puzzle? All right. So those are the transform. These are the examples that I talked about. Again, we have our transition, which means that the element on which the transition is will take 1 second if a transform is happening. Again, this is not on the hover element. This is on the actual just regular element that you are trying to manipulate. Possible values, like I said, bottom. You can bottom, top, left, right. You can combine. Again, top left is the first step, so in your x-axis. Percentages, like I said, 100 brings us in the, that's a good question. If I were to replace 100 with words, where would I be on my scale? So 100%, 100%. If I were to use the words top, bottom, left, and right, where would I be? 100%, 100%. Visualize the square. Bottom right. Yes, correct. So again, I'm starting from here, 100%. 100% brings it over to here. 100% brings it over to here. So I'm at the bottom right, where my fingers are. Good. All right. And then, of course, you have the pixels at the bottom as well. Those might be the easiest. But again, you don't always know how large or small something is. Most of the transformations that I talked about, again, are in 2D. You can also do 3D. Now, a very easy way to say this is that, how should I say? I can also do this with a square. Yep, it's the last slide as well. And then we will start with the experimentation. So translate and rotate. Again, I'm not going to talk about the fourth dimension here, being time and space. But I'm going to talk about, of course, the place in the space of this square. So, of course, this might be just a div on something on your website. And if you want to translate is placing it on a different place. So translating it 100 pixels on the x-axis makes it go like this. 100 pixels on the y-axis makes it go like this. Okay? Or if you go both at the same time, it will go like this. It will immediately go diagonally. Now, of course, we're working on the x-plane. We're working on the y-plane. We can also work on the z-plane. So the z-plane is from me to you, from you to me. Just go like this. Again, my hand, basically. Now I am on z0. Z minus 100. Z minus... z100. Why do I do this stupid thing? Because this is actually what is going to happen. Your thing is going to look larger. If I hold it here on z100 or on z minus 100, there's a difference in size. So you can play with that as well. Okay? That's translation. You have rotation as well. Now, and this is one of the exercises, but we will see only in animation because these things mostly have one trick pony, as in it will have one translation. But after the first session, which will conclude in a couple of minutes, you will go to work with these, and then we will do animations. And animations, much cooler. Believe me, I will show you some examples. But for example, this square. At the end of the lesson, the last exercise is just creating a loading animation. A loading animation that does this. Just everything is a color. Let's say, I think it's green. And this is white. So a nice square of white with rounded edges. And the only thing that square is going to do is this. So it's like tumbling or keep tumbling around axes. And it's like it's waiting. And when your loading is done, then you can remove this and show your content. Now, rotation, again, we are only rotating on this axis. This is the z-axis. Of course, like, again, where you put your pencil in, this is my z-axis. Just as the same, if this is my z-axis, if I'm translating along the z-axis, I'm translating along the pencil. So for my rotation, I'm rotating basically on the z-axis, giving it a 2D effect. If I were to rotate on the x-axis, you would get this. This is such a funny lesson. So again, I am rotating it like this. That's the x-axis. And of course, the y-axis, y is this one, then I will be rotating it like this. I forgot how fun I found this lesson. All right, those are the basics for transitions and transformations. I'm going to keep the recording alive, and we are going to see one demo of something that uses a transformation, and then go with that. All right, time to cut here. Voilà. Goed. Ik ga even mijn slides dan verwijderen. Dus we gaan straks door met de slides. Met example button. Iedereen nog mee? Ik ga u een voorbeeld geven. Ik ga dat gewoon uitwerken en de gedachtegang erbij zeggen. Weer al, ik ben geen expert. Ik ga dit er ook uitknippen. Ik ben geen expert in CSS, laat staan in animaties. Dat is een veld dat mij een beetje weg van gebleven is. Ik wil dat wel worden en ik denk dat ik dat volgend jaar ga ik me daarin echt gaan verdiepen. Om echt meer cursussen te volgen, naar het werkveld te gaan kijken. Maar dit is eigenlijk een gans andere skill dan wat ik gewoon ben ook. Hè. Dus jullie hebben veel meer designkennis dan ik. De lessen van Maaike en Els heb ik nooit niet gehad. Ik heb die basis niet. Ooit volg ik die wel. Maar dus eigenlijk waar we op ons gaan focussen deze keer is eigenlijk om onze pagina net iets meer sexier te maken. Hè, voor het werkstuk gaat dat zijn afwerkingen. Je komt je pagina binnen, je bent data aan het ophalen. In plaats van gewoon een lege pagina te tonen, toon een ladinganimatie. Poepsimpel om te doen. En je kunt je daar zoveel mogelijk in uitleveren wat je wilt. De meesten die een eigen logo maken, voor degenen die in de webcluster komen zitten volgend semester, denk dan een keer na. Iedereen gaat zo een redelijke identiteit kunnen krijgen. Je gaat een identiteit creëren met je website, met je logo. Je kunt dat logo animeren in CSS als je erover hovert. Niks zegt meer afwerking dan als je je eigen logo animeert. Dat is awesome. Oké? Ik zou graag ook een eigen logo animeren. Maar kijk, weer al, als experimentatie. Ik ga even mijn... Als er vragen zijn, stel ze gerust. Ik ga even mijn demo opstellen. Voilà, iets groter zetten. Ik ga mijn cheat sheet erbij nemen, uiteraard, want God knows. Alright. We gaan een button creëren. En als we erover hoveren, gaat er eigenlijk precies een film of een andere kleur eigenlijk overkomen. En we gaan onze witte button gaan we geel of rood of whatever, gaan we een andere kleur geven. Ik ga eigenlijk de basis van transitie en transformatie, dat zijn de twee elementen die we vooral gaan gebruiken en gaan mixen, ga ik jullie gaan bijbrengen. Oké? Dus eerst en vooral, we hebben natuurlijk een button nodig. Nu, we gaan die stylen als een button, maar we gaan gewoon een A-link gebruiken. Dan zijn we ook van die lelijke knop vanaf van HTML. Dus uiteraard een pagina. Ik heb mijn style.css. Ik ga dat invoegen. Style.css. Dat is in orde. En ik ga mijn knop gaan maken. Iets verder zetten nu. Ja. Dus mijn knop A. Het gaat naar niks gaan. Mijn href gaat gewoon hashtag zijn. Mijn live server werkt precies niet, of ben ik zo fout? Moet ik nu refreshen? Nee, toch? Oké. Ah, oké. Ik ga het iets groter zetten. Kijk, hiervan starten we. Meer... Wacht, ik ga even een vraagje in chat. Ah ja, juist, ja. Ik moet dit in het Engels doen, ik moet het terug opnemen. Secondje. Vraagje in chat. Bijvoorbeeld bij YouTube chat is de border bottom transition geanimeerd. Ja, exact. Ja, klopt. Goed, goed punt als je in de... ik zal het even erbij nemen. Ik weet niet of je het goed ziet. Ik ga het echt groter steken. Nee, dat gaat... Voilà, kijk, ik ga het even hier doen. Oké, dit is nu wel echt Inception-style. Maar als ik hierop klik, kijk naar het onderste lijntje. Voilà. Dat is effectief... Maar nu, dit is wel material design. Dat is van Google. Maar dat laat... Dus die gaat eigenlijk met JavaScript gaan triggeren on focus. Dit noemen ze on focus. Als je dingen gefocust is en je kunt beginnen tippen, dan ga ik een animatie gaan uitvoeren of ga ik alleszins mijn CSS gaan aanpassen. Dat kan ook. Zot, hè? Alle kleine dingen. Nu, al die zaken... even kijken... Al die zaken zijn te bekijken ook in material design. Maar weer al, dat mag je niet gebruiken voor frontend. Mag je niet gebruiken voor Web 2 dingen. Dat zijn eigenlijk zaken die voorgemaakt zijn. Hè. Wacht, hè. Material.io. Material.io. Kan ik kijken. Material teaming. Dan kun je met kleuren werken. Ziet? Voilà. Je hebt verschillende zaken dat je kunt doen als je daar dan op klikt. Ik heb nu even geen componenten. Een bottom. Allee, hebben ze hier nergens zo geen voorbeelden? Allee, zeg. Nee, oké, geen voorbeelden. Whatever. Material design van Google, voor degenen die dat echt super tof vinden, die kunnen dat doen. Goed, ik zal misschien hier mijn les starten. Geef me even. Alright, so we're going to start with a basic HTML page and just a simple link. The only thing I have, like I said, I promised no JavaScript. We won't see any JavaScript. For those who want to, go ahead, go nuts. But still, we only need CSS for now. Of course, we are going to use the lessons that you learned for the Flexbox and Grid, for example, to center our thing. Remember what Thomas said from Real Dolman, by the way, that in the early days it was much harder to center stuff. So we are going to just keep this simple. I'm not going to put any other elements in because it's mostly about testing out the transitions and the animations. Again, to work with this, you're only going to be working mostly in CSS. So have CSS open, have this open in live preview, and make sure that autosave is on. And then you might see this switching way more often and it's easier to work with. For example, so for the body, I will have a view height of which is the height that is being used. The height of my body, I can set it to 100. I'm gonna use display flex. I'm gonna use a flex box, and we are going to. Here comes the more important thing. Center. Again, center on the horizontal one, and center. What is the? Well, I can ask you. How do I center it vertically? You should have learned this by now. What is the property that I need to center it vertically? Align items. Align items also. Yes. Working zoomed in still takes. Done. We have a center button. Good. Now I will give it a background color. I will hold on a second. I will get my colors because I have a color sheet. Colors used. I think it's a background color. Make it a bit more fancy schmancy. All right. Good for me. Or red. Yeah, red. Of course, what is the first thing that I see? This is something that colorblind people hate, as in actual blue on red. This hurts my eyes. So we have placed our object where we want it. We have created our background color what we wanted. Now it's time to actually style the A. Design is my passion. Yes, of course. Again, like I said, I am no CSS god. I think someone called me that last year when I showed the examples, and the person thought that it was me doing all that in one evening. And I was like, no. It's like, oh my God, I thought you were a CSS god. I was like, no, I'm not a CSS god. I'm sorry. Again, CSS for me is lots of searching, and if you have an idea on what the properties are, I don't have the time to learn everything by head. I use frameworks way too often. Text decoration, none. So again, we don't have that ugly hover. We want to control everything in there. I'm going to give it a color of, let's say, Alice Blue. Voila. Whatever, auto completion. Font family. I'm just gonna add some stuff as well. Okay, gonna make it a bit bigger. Again, this is why I like the how I call it, the live preview, because the moment I'm typing and I'm not happy, well, I can make this 52. Voila. Well, 52 fits more my style, for example. I'm gonna give it a border, which is always makes it fun. Border, I can do the same. Let me think. 5px solid Alice Blue. Make it a bit, there's some okay, what do I need here to create so a bit of a spacing? This looks intimidating. Oh, I haven't started to the transformation yet. But this is basic CSS that I think you learned in Web 1, I assume. But I like last CSS god. Hover me or else. Yeah, good point. Can we create that? Hover me or else. Hover me daddy? No, I will not do that. That would be weird. I remembered, like, oh, god damn it. Okay. Perfecto. Good. Position. Okay. All right. No, no hovers from daddy. Again, guys, this is recorded. Please stay nice. I have a hover button. I have something. I can hover over it. Nothing happens. Okay, the first thing you might try is a dot hover. Again, work with classes and IDs if you have multiple elements, of course. And I can do background color yellow. Is it? Oh my god, this is so ugly. Okay, maybe just a bit like some sort of gray, so I can keep the. Yeah, let's stay with that. But it's beautiful. CSS God. Again, this is fun. This is nice, believe me, before I took this lesson last year, I didn't know how to create this kind of effect, like with the borders and stuff. I am, like I said, now I am a CSS god. Then I wasn't. I want to create something else. When I hover over it, I want to be able that you have the button, and I want the gray thing just like moving in. It's like a slideshow coming in. We are going to do some magic now. See, CSS god and a magician. I'm beginning to believe. I believe. Who knows what this is? Can anyone tell me what a : before or a : after is? Can anyone tell me? She'll give a hint. I knew it once, and then I took an arrow to the knee. Now, content, you put it in before. Voila. This is a pseudo element. I'm going to be, yeah, okay. This is a pseudo element. What does it do? Again, I'm going to go W3 schools. Why? Because they have the basic ones. So there's a difference between pseudo classes and pseudo elements. Where is it? Where is it? Pseudo elements and pseudo class. So classes, you mostly know, as in you have user define a state of an element, on hover, on focus, on those things. Those are pseudo classes. Pseudo elements are things you put into the page, or you can insert content before and after, which is the before and after keyword, or you can style specific letters or content from an element. For example, I think there's something here on the first line. So P : first line means that I'm only going to change the color and the font variant for the first line. Think about, or even the first word. Think about the, if you have like articles that the first line is mostly like a quote that is in italic, well, you can do it like this. Again, I won't go into pseudo elements. The most important thing that you need to know is that I just entered content in here that is not HTML specific. If I go to my, where is inspect element? Yeah, I don't know if you, where is my, here. Give me a second. Don't know if you see it here, but in my A, you have hover me or else. Here is a before element. So it literally places the U, the text that I put here, in here. Now, I can do some cool things with that. And you will see that the before and after are the reasons, are like 80% of how you should do the animations, which I'm going to show you later. So I'm going to make empty content. What I'm going, like I said, I want a gray square sliding in like a slideshow. I need to create that gray square, and that's what I'm going to do here. So again, oops. Okay. Left 0, right 0. Again, this is playing with the values. Background color, gray, or okay, hot pink. I think we should go for hot pink. What do you think? I think we should go for hot pink. And then of course, you don't see anything right now. So I'm gonna make the width and the height 100%. Gonna look amazing. Oh my god, this is so great. Jesus. I'm going to play with the Z index. I think -1. Aha. So Z index again places it in front or behind a certain element. So my A is coming up right now, it's on the top layer, and the Z index places it behind. Let me think. What else do I need? I think I have everything. That's something else. Overflow hidden. That's what I like because I don't want it to clip. Why isn't it making here? Did I miss something? Give me a second. Wacky. Yeah, the top, I thought it was going to be... Give me a second. Border padding position. Okay, content left, right. That should be okay. Again, I'm going to continue. Oh my god, not left, right, left, top. What is my stupid me? Voila, we have our button. We have our pink button. But now comes the transition. I want to on hover, make it pink. Now, you might ask, why did you just create a whole square in here? Now, let me show you. I'm gonna put the overflow hidden off so you can see what it actually does. All right. How do I comment again? It's only like this. Transition details. And now we're actually going to make a transition. What I am going to do is going to, on hover, I'm going to move this. I'm going to move this element into space. Into space. Again, I am not going to hover on the, let's say, in here. So on hover, I can do before. And now I can do transform, rotate 0 degrees or 90 degrees. Okay, we have movement, boys. We have movement. Boys and girls, we have movement. This is not what I want. All right. Now, what I want is to have a transition to it. Again, I want it to move over a certain period of time. I want to, I think, let's say 1 second. So that means that transition on the element itself. What are we going to look for? Transform, which means if there is a transformation, it's going to take 1 second to complete. Ooh, we're almost there. Hot pink buttons. All right. Again, what else can I change? What else can I do? Okay, this is the overflow is messing with us. I keep the overflow on until the end so I see what I'm doing. That's how I learned it myself. Again, I want to hide the pink thing and actually, how should I say? And actually try to move it in when I hover over it. So I need to move it out of the way first so you can transform it here as well. So transform. Let's say I want my, again, I am the CSS god, but you are my underlings. How do I move the button to here where my mouse is? I want to move it like here, and just like this, I want to be rotating it all the way up until the end here. Like I want to start from here. Origin point, correct. So the origin point, I'm going to change that. So the change of this origin point, again, we are in, I'm going to do, let me check. The origin point should be bottom left then. I think bottom left. I'm gonna try. Aha! Aha! We have something. See, I changed the bottom left. If I want to change the bottom right, you have multiple things. See, again, it takes a new point, again, the point on the right side here, and then it rotates 90 degrees, which means it goes clockwise. So as you can see, it moves out of the way. Now, what I want, bottom left, I want to hide it first. So I'm going to transform it. Transform. Rotate. I think counterclockwise, so out of the way, which means it's minus 90 degrees. Et voila. And now we're almost there. We're almost there. Ah, that's not good. 90 degrees. It doesn't have, I'm going to rotate it to 0 degrees, which means I will have this. And of course, the last trick up my sleeve is this. All praise the CSS God. Again, this is what I meant. Like, we're gonna have fun today. Like, this is nothing that I can say like, make this. You need to learn by yourself. And as you can see, by just adjusting some of those small things, it allows you to do lots of stuff. Okay. Are you guys ready to do it yourself? I think so. Again, these are only the this is only the beginning. Like these are only one-step solutions. Like one-step animations. I think at 11 I will teach you animations, which is much cooler. But again, we have to start somewhere. For today. Yes. Haha, perfect question. Can we use multiple befores, like before elements? Yes, we can use multiple. Like, for example, let's say, or even after. Like, make an after one. Before, or even, like, I am going to... This one is going to have, let's say, blue, for example, or blue-violet, whatever. Again, I am experimenting. You have, you can put IDs in there. So again, you will have the same selection here. They will rotate the same. But if you make this, let me check. This will be higher up. So I'm just experimenting here. This is the fun of it. Height 50. 50. That's only 50. I have to look at that. Somebody asked me the same the same as well. Last year, but I forgot. There is a trick to it. I will look into it while you guys are busy. I want to set you guys on your way. Delete this. Again, for Web 2. Again, the full stack demo is session 6. I put the link in there. I will adjust. I think I already adjusted the YouTube session. Session 7. I do want to recommend, though, these are my, like, you can ignore the name, but these are the slides that I used. You can take a look at that to have a small overview. Animation documentation. Very good. Like, if anything, CSS, like, this is CSS tricks. Oh, that's a guide to Flexbox. Nope, we don't need that. How does this have the wrong link? My mistake. I think it will be this. Yeah. So CSS animation, everything you need for like duration, like these are most of the properties. There are a bit more, I see, place, state, stuff like that. You can give animations names. You can look at that. And again, animations is for later. Transforms and transitions are even more basic. You can work with that from now on. Examples and video tutorials. This is the course that I used. Highly recommended if you want to go more in depth. No, I will not give you the materials because of course it's a paid course. I paid for it, and I would really like, if you pay for this, I think it's like 12 euros because it's your first time sale. So again, I really recommend going to this and then look at the examples he gives. What I will do, or what we will do, sorry, the exercises will be in here. So more freeform lesson. I will give you most of the use promo code. No, I will not give promo codes. I will, you know what? I will show you some of the things you will be doing. CSS Transitions, let me check. One of the exercises. Why doesn't, oh, of course, these are the exercises, I think. Exercises, I don't have the solutions yet. Give me a second. You will get a series of, I think even, no, session 7 is not visible yet. I was going to put it up. Yep, it should be visible now. So exercises 7, you will download. Again, stay away from the animation and keyframes for now. You don't need that yet. That's for the next session, as in a couple of hours. And CSS Transitions, you will get a folder that looks a lot like this. You will have exercise 1 to 7. Again, more freeform. Most of the basic stuff is already in there. You will try to work with navigations, and these are the things you're going to be making. So there's a GIF on what you're going to be making yourself. So as you can see, same thing as we did just now, but we're also changing the text to white, for example. A couple of things. The button, I'm enlarging the button. So what features am I changing here? If there was nothing of a transition, like what is changing here? That's the first thing you need to keep in mind. On the hovered state, what other CSS properties have I changed? Come on, and everyone should at least see this, or at least know this. Border stroke, yeah. So the thickness of the border, the padding, margin, letter spacing, correct. Those things, like not a lot. I think 3 things or something. So again, you still use the same hover things, but you add a transition, so it works into it a second. Another hover function. This is a very cool one. The GIF doesn't do it justice, believe me. It has like this shine over it. It has like this glass effect. Again, the first thing you know how to do, you're changing the text, sorry, not the text, the background color to red, you know that. But then again, the white thing that shoots over it, what would that be? Again, a before or an after element. You asked if you could work with multiple things. These are all HTML elements that are getting filled up, as you might see in exercise 4. All spans. And here you need to work with the nth child CSS stuff. Another cool navigation thing you might see here. And you have pictures. If you hover over it, then it shows up. Again, important is that your picture stays the same, but the set, like, it just changes content. And then the last one, an overlay. These are all very practical things that you can use for your own projects and give your own flavor to it. I did most of the basic CSS stuff, so like centering the things. You just can you can work on the actual animation. Any questions before I shut this down for a second? Everything is in here. No solutions. Some good stuff, huh? Good stuff. Have fun with your hot pink buttons. Let's say that I will... PowerPoint animations. Yeah. Just to give you a teaser, let's say 11:30. So you have a 10-minute break now. You can take, go grab some coffee or something else. And at 11:30, we will resume. I will do one exercise with the navigation. I will give the animation theory on the slides. And then we will, like there are only 4 exercises for animation. But I really want to, let me just give you an idea of what an animation can do, if that's okay. Fairly simple, but this is an animation, as in I am not doing anything, I'm not hovering, I'm not clicking on anything. This is something that keeps repeating. So that's what we will look at after this session. So I hope you have a good time. Again, work in pairs, work in groups of 3, sit together, use the Teams chat. No JavaScript, nothing. I promise you no JavaScript. I am a man of my word, as I am the CSS god. All right, take care. I will see you all at 11:30 again here on this channel. Again, just come to the YouTube channel. You will see the. I will not paste the link in Teams. Just be here. All right. Have fun. Have a good CSS training.